Nice to see everybody out and enjoy the wet weather today. And I welcome Lou Montpelier from planning of the city, who was working with us on as the planner for the county. And thanks to everybody. Now, the first item of business is request for deferral of application or any request for withdrawal of an application. Okay. The next one is adoption of the minutes that were sent to everyone. Moved by John Andrews, seconded by Jack Van Castren. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Business arising out of the minutes? There's no business arising out of the minutes. Disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? Undeclared. Correspondence, items for information, there are none. There are none. Under new business, there's no item. Consent applications, and we had to wait a few minutes. The first one's at 9:10. Okay, we'll proceed with application number E12-22. Take notice that an application has been made by Eleanor Limited Partnership, Kirkland, Quebec, for consent pursuant to section 53 of the Planning Act 1990, as amended to sever lands municipally known as 11884 Sunset Road, Township of Southwold. The applicants are proposed to sever a parcel with a frontage of 856 meters, 2,808.4 feet along Sunset Road by a depth of 462.6 meters, 1,517.72 feet, and an area of 38.47 hectares, 95.06 acres, to create a new industrial property containing an industrial facility currently under construction, surface parking, and a wastewater treatment plant. The applicants are retaining 213.58 hectares, 527.77 acres, proposed to remain industrial use. Do we have any applicants or agents and interested parties who wish to speak to this application? Please introduce yourself to the committee.
Hi, I'm Rachel Bossy. I'm here on behalf of the applicant. So all I wanted to say is that I read the staff report and conditions and have no concerns. And I just wanted to make myself available to this committee today if you had any questions for me.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Question.
Let's just wait till we get the report.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No other agents or applicants? Okay, I'll now call on Lou Papilia for the planning and the reports.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The county staff are recommending that the application for consent, it is consistent with have conducted their review, and it is consistent with the lower tier municipalities input as well. Sorry, I might add. The application for consent is consistent with the 2020 PPS as well as the county official plan and lower tier official plan. Staff is of the opinion that the application is acceptable from a planning perspective and recommends approval with the following conditions. And I could go through those conditions if the committee would like.
Yes, please.
So the digital copy of the draft final positive reference plan be provided to the County of Elgin. A solicitor undertaking to provide a copy. The solicitor undertaking to provide a copy of registered deed for the severed parcel once completed. Municipal addressing to be provided to Elgin County from the local municipality prior to final approval to the satisfaction of Elgin County planning. And additionally, the following conditions from the Township of Southwold are also included as conditions of consent. That the applicant meet all requirements, financial and otherwise, of the municipality to the satisfaction and clearance of the municipality. That the applicant provide a description of the lands to be severed, which can be registered in the land registry office to the satisfaction and clearance of the municipality. That the applicant pays the cash in lieu of parkland fee for the creation of a new industrial lot to the municipality. That the applicant's solicitor provides an undertaking to the municipality to provide a copy of the registered deed for the severed parcel once the transaction has occurred to the municipality. The applicant's solicitor provide a request for clearance of conditions to the municipality, demonstrating how all the conditions of consent have been fulfilled to the satisfaction and clearance of the municipality. And prior to final approval of the county be advised in writing by the municipality how the above noted conditions have been satisfied. Final condition that all conditions noted above shall be fulfilled within 2 years of the notice of decision, so that the County of Elgin is authorized to issue the certificate of consent pursuant to section 5342 of the Planning Act.
Any other comments from any of the members? John?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to Ms. Bossy, just a point of information. It's the first application I've seen in the last 3.5 years or so that has a wastewater treatment plant. Tell me if the plant is a physical, chemical, or a biological treatment plant, and are you discharging to sewer use bylaw levels or to natural resource or natural water course requirements?
So through the chair, I wasn't involved in the wastewater treatment plant, but my understanding is that I believe it's just to address the wastewater on site. I don't have the background information on it, but I am aware that the applicant has worked closely with the township and the province on all of their approvals for the wastewater treatment plant.
Thank you.
Any other comments from any of the members?
Move the recommendation.
Moved by Dennis O'Grady. Seconded by John Andrews. No further questions. I'll call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. The decision rendered today for this application will be circulated within 15 days after the notice. There is a 20-day appeal period from the giving of the notice of decision in which any person or public body may appeal the decision or any condition imposed. If no appeal is received within 20 days of giving of notice, provisional consent becomes final. The applicant has 2 years to meet the conditions imposed and submit the necessary documents for the certification, or the consent will lapse and a new application will be required. Please leave the identification signs in place until the appeal period ends, after which they can be removed. If you would like to be notified of today's decision, please request a copy by contacting Land Division at elgin.ca. A copy of the comment package is also available upon request, includes all correspondence received. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And the next application will not be, is the 920. So we've got a few minutes. because we're timed to. The next one is application E1322. Take notice that an application is made by Stephen James Prance, Jennifer Lynn Prance, Mary Ellen Kagan, 61, Coulter Ave, St. Thomas, for a consent pursuant to section 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended to sever lands municipally known as 61 Coulter Ave, Municipality of Central Elgin. The applicants propose to sever a parcel of the frontage of 34.9 meters, 114.5 feet along Lexington Court by a depth of 41.15 meters, 135.0 feet, and an area of 0.14 hectares, 0.35 acres to create a new residential lot. The applicants are retaining 0.19 hectares, 40.47 acres proposed to remain in residential use. Do we have any applicants or agents or interested parties who wish to speak to this application? Please introduce yourself to the committee. None have indicated, so we'll now proceed. I'll ask Lou Pompilia to speak to that, please.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. This application has been submitted to staff and the lower tier municipalities for their comment and input. And this application for consent is consistent with the 2020 DPS and complies with the Elgin County OP regarding lot creation in settlement areas, and also with the lower tier commercial plan. Staff is of the opinion that the application is acceptable from a planning perspective and recommends the following conditions. We want a digital copy of the draft and final deposited reference plan be provided to the County of Elgin. A solicitor undertaking to provide a copy of the registered deed for the severed parcel once completed. And additionally, the following conditions from the municipality of Central Elgin are also included as conditions of consent. The applicant enters into a development agreement with the municipality of Central Elgin with respect to administrative, financial, legal, and technical matters. The payment of cash in lieu of the dedication of 5% of land for park plan purposes be provided. The municipality of Central Elgin be provided with a copy of the reference plan, and a drainage assessment be done if necessary at the owner's expense.
Okay, any comments from any of the members? Jack?
Question, just for a point of clarification for future reference, I guess. So the letter that you read announcing the application says to create a new residential lot, but the application for consent checks off that it's addition to a lot. So for future reference and going back, can we clarify which one it is? Are we creating a new residential lot, or are we approving an addition to an existing lot?
What's happening? This process will consist of multiple stages of
Yeah, I
approval.
see that.
This is the first stage to sever off the rear portion, join it to the abutting lands, and then through future Planning Act applications, hard lot control applications through the county, through the both the city of St. Thomas and the Central Elgin. Creation of those lots will be created. So this application is to consolidate the rear with the adjacent land.
Yeah, so we are creating a new lot to be dealt with in the future then.
Yeah.
Okay. I just thought it should be clarified if there's a discrepancy between the two.
Okay. Dennis, you have a question?
Yeah, that's interesting. Why would you do it that way and not just merge it, call it a merging of properties?
I wish the applicant was here to describe it. They could probably describe it in a little bit more detail since they're heavily invested in this. They're following a similar process to what was done with the lands to the north. In terms of, there's a lot of other issues and agreements to be brought forward because they are lands with various two abutting municipalities. There are right-of-way lands. Temporarily, portions of the land will be landlocked. So there are agreements that no development take place until the full merger is completed. This is just um, the first step in this would be to sever off this rear portion.
Because of the complications, it's easier to create the new lot rather
Yes.
than merge it.
So appropriate agreements and undertakings have been submitted that have been accepted by both municipalities.
Any further questions for any of the members?
Move the recommendation.
Moved by Dennis O'Grady, seconded by Rosemary. All in favor? Carried. It's carried. The decision rendered today for this application will be circulated within 15 days after the notice. There is a 20-day appeal period from the giving of the notice of decision, in which any person or public body may appeal the decision or any condition imposed. If no appeal is received within 20 days of the giving of notice, the provisional consent becomes final. The applicant has 2 years to meet the conditions imposed and submit the necessary documents for certification, or the consent will lapse and a new application will be required. Please leave the identification signs in place until the appeal period ends, after which they can be removed. If you would like to be notified of today's decision, please request a copy by contacting Land Division at algon.ca. A copy of the comment package is also available upon request and includes all correspondence received. Thank you. Next one is 9:30. application is E14-22. Take notice an application has been made by Scott Hayhoe Farms Incorporated, 5045 Wales Crescent, Aylmer, Ontario, for consent pursuant to section 53 of the Planning Act 1990, as amended to sever lands municipally known as 52947 Colton Line, Township of Malahide. The applicants propose to sever a parcel with a frontage of 115.0 meters, 377.30 feet along Colton Line by a depth of 56.37 meters, 184.94 feet, and an area of 0.64 hectares or 1.58 acres containing a residence, barn, and 2 sheds for residential use. The applicants are retaining 31.8 hectares, 78.58 acres proposed to remain in agricultural use. Do we have any applicants or agents and interested parties who wish to speak to this application? Please introduce yourself to the committee.
Good morning, David Rowe, agent for Scott Hayhoe.
You? Yes? Thank you, Scott. Yes. Anyone else? Okay, now I'll ask Lou Pompilia, the planner, to through the remarks from the county and
Chair, this application for consent is both, is consistent with both the 2020 PPS and complies with the County of Elgin and Township of Malahide official plan regarding lot creation for surplus farm dwellings in the agricultural area. Planning staff are of the opinion that the application is supportable from a planning perspective and recommends approval subject to the following conditions from the Land Division Committee. Its decision from Elgin County. Digital copy of the draft and final deposited reference plan be provided to the County of Elgin. And that's a solicitor undertaking to provide a copy of the registered deed for the severed parcel once complete. Additionally, it's recommended that the following conditions from the Township of Malahide be included in the conditions for consent. That Malahide Township Council has no objection to the land severance or application E14-22, the name of Scott Hayhoe Farms Inc. relating to the property located on part of lot 32, concession 3, it's 52947 Colton Line, Township of Malahide, subject to the following conditions. That all outstanding work orders for bylaw enforcement issues be resolved to the satisfaction of the chief building official prior to the condition being deemed fulfilled. Confirmation that private sewage system be defined entirely within the boundaries of the newly created parcel. That system be in conformance with all required setbacks from lot lines prior to conditions being deemed fulfilled. 3, that the owner has the necessary review and lot assessment conducted to ensure that it is suitable for the installation of sewage disposal system and payment of necessary fees per lot. 4, that the necessary deeds, transfers, and charges for certificates and or instruments necessary for registration be submitted in triplicate prior to certification, which are to be fully executed. Condition 5, that all applicable property taxes, municipal fees, and charges be paid to the municipality prior to the stamping of the deeds. Next condition, that an electric version of the reference plan be submitted to the satisfaction of the municipality. Condition 7, that the applicant be responsible to apply and pay all fees to the township with respect to civic addressing, number, signage for the severed and retained portions of the property prior to the conditions being fulfilled. Final condition, that the applicants initiate and assume all planning costs associated with the required zoning amendment in accordance to the Interior Planning Act, with such costs to be paid in full to the township, and that the required process be successfully completed prior to the condition being deemed fulfilled.
any comments from any of the members of the committee? Lou?
Yeah, just maybe a question of clarification. Where does the farmer currently live? Like, is it in Elmer or is it on a farm or?
I live in Copenhagen, just south of Elmer.
Cause like, I'm wondering where the first main farm residence is, which makes this up, the surplus farm residence, what my question is.
The home farm, which is still owned by my parents, is at 5359 Springfield Road, Elmer, which is a 50-acre parcel with the house and the office on it. Kind of the main operation that my farm operates out of.
Any further comments from anyone? John?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, actually a housekeeping issue. On page 59, there's a reference to 0.43 hectares, and I think that refers to 1522 as opposed to 1422. So it should be 0.64 hectares. And also, I believe the length and width values should be changed to 1422 as well.
That agrees.
Incorrect.
There's two applications.
Yeah, there's 14 and 15, and I think in the lines of 1522, it's the.
Yeah, they should be clarified. It's parcel B that is the first application that we're dealing with now. Parcel A is second. At the end of the day, we need two consents.
Yes. So am I incorrect on the page number of the?
No, I think the first application,
Okay, the first application is 1422. When it says 115.0 meters, 377 feet.
that's correct. Yeah, that's correct.
Where is the question, John?
I just thought that the 0.43 acres was referring to 1522 instead of 1422.
The
On
acreage
14.
on this should be 1.57 acres or 0.64 hectares
On 14?
on the first application.
Yeah, that's what it is, so that's correct.
Yeah,
So we're good.
14 is calling for 0.64 hectares, 1.5 acres, or 31.8 hectares, 78.58 acres. Is that right?
Yeah, like the first application is the slightly larger one, 0.06.
Yeah.
Yes, 0.064, but I'm sorry, maybe I
What
misread.
throws it off is that the surveyors should have put parcel A and B should have been the other way around, because we're dealing with parcel B first and then we're dealing with parcel A.
Gotcha.
Second.
All right, John.
I guess. I just, from page 59
Yes, Dennis.
in the agenda package, Dennis, am I right or wrong?
You've got the floor still.
What's that?
You've got the floor still. But did you finish your question? Do you have any more questions? Are you
Oh,
done?
no, I'm good.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I thought Duke's question was a good one, and I'm wondering if there might be room perhaps in the staff's report to us in the future about that paragraph, about where the home farm is, because we've had a long discussion on that as a committee in the past, to make sure that we are allowing a surplus residence to be severed. And and I don't see any reference to that in the staff report. And I think that if that were put in there, but where the home farm is, then that gives us, we're making a decision, indication that it is surplus.
Yeah, we can't, they can hear us talking.
Okay, so we have that information. I think we're putting it in the staff.
We can't hear you.
Sure, no, I'll certainly make a note to add that in the future for surplus farm building,
Set up with a different laptop. If you
primary residence,
bear with us for a minute.
the applicant, the farmer.
Okay. Yeah, or you,
Mr. Chair, I'm still a little confused here. It says here the principal residence owning farmer is 5045 Wells Crescent, Elmer. Did you say you lived in Copenhagen?
Yeah, Elmer's the address though, or Malahide.
Okay. Because I know we have run into this in the past where it was questionable whether a person living in town, whether it was actually a access farm residence. That's where I'm getting a little confused on this application.
Any other questions?
Make a motion to approve it.
Moved by Rosemary that it be approved. Second by John Andrews. Any further comments? All in favor? Opposed? One opposed. Scary. We now can proceed with the next one, which is application number E1522. Take notice, an application has been made by Scott Hayhoe Farms Incorporated, 5045 Wales Crescent, Aylmer, for consent pursuant to section 53 of the Planning Act 1990, as amended to sever lands municipally known as 52887 Carlton Line, Township of Malahide. The applicants propose to sever a parcel with a frontage of 100.0 meters, 328.08 feet along Carlton Line by a depth of 42.92 meters, 140.81 feet, and an area of 0.43 hectares, 1.06 acres, containing a residence and one shed for residential use. The applicants are retaining 31.3 hectares, 77.34 acres proposed to remain in agricultural use. And applicants or agents or interested parties? Yes, thank you. And I'll ask Lou to report on this one, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Similar to the previous application, this application is consistent with the 2020 PPS and that complies with the county and Malahide official plans regarding lot creations for surplus farm dwellings in the agricultural area. And as such, planning staff are of the opinion that the application is supportable from a planning perspective. It recommends approval with following conditions from the County of Elgin. A digital copy of the draft and final deposited reference plan be provided to the County of Elgin, and a solicitor undertaking to provide a copy of registered deed for the severed parcel once completed. Additionally, it's recommended that the following conditions be applied for the Township of Malahide, also be included for the consent. That Malahide Township Council has no objections to land severance application number E15-22 in the name of Scott Hayhoe Farms Inc. related to the property located on part lot 32, concession 3, 52887 Alton Line, Township of Malahide, subject to the following conditions. That all outstanding work orders or bylaw enforcement issues be resolved to the satisfaction of the chief building official prior to the conditions being deemed fulfilled. Confirmation that private sewage systems be confined entirely within the boundaries of the newly created parcel. That the system be in conformance with all required setbacks from lot lines prior to the condition being deemed fulfilled. 3, that the owner has the necessary review and lot assessment conducted to ensure that it is suitable for the installation of sewage disposal system and payment of necessary fees per lot. Condition 4, that the necessary deeds, transfers, and charges or certificates and or instruments necessary for the registration be submitted in triplicate prior to certification, of which are to be fully executed. Condition 5, that the applicable property taxes, municipal fees, and charges be paid to the municipality prior to stamping of the deeds. Condition 6, that an electric version of the reference plan be submitted to the satisfaction of the municipality. Condition 7, that the applicant is responsible to apply and pay all fees to the township with respect to civic addressing, numbers, signage for the severed and retained portions of property prior to the condition being deemed fulfilled. The final condition, that the applicant initiate and assume all planning costs associated with the required zoning amendment in accordance with the Ontario Planning Act. with such costs to be paid in full to the township and that the required process be fully completed prior to the conditions being deemed fulfilled.
Any comments from any of the members of the committee?
Move the recommendation.
Moved by Dennis O'Grady. Seconder. Seconded by Jack Van Castren. All in favor? Opposed? Unopposed? Carried. Do we have people on there that are for application? E13? That's gotta be that. The decision rendered today for this application will be circulated within 15 days after the notice. There is a 20-day appeal period from the giving of the notice of decision in which any person or public body may appeal the decision or any condition imposed. If no appeal is received within 20 days of the giving of notice, the provisional consent becomes final. The applicant has 2 years to meet the conditions imposed and submit the necessary documents for a certification, or the consent will lapse and a new application will be required. Please leave the identification signs in place until the appeal period ends, after which they can be removed. If you would like to be notified of today's decision, please request a copy by contacting landdivision@algon.ca. A copy of the comment package is also available. Upon request, includes all correspondence received. Thank you. Got a few minutes before we deal with the next one.
Sure.
Oh,
If we could provide them with an update on what happened. Here.
yes, is that right, Julie? We have people on there, Brian, do you know, from E13?
E13 has been considered, and we need to give them an update.
Just should we give them an update?
Sure.
Okay. Could, or do we have applicants or agents for interested in E1322?
Yes, yes. Will Hayhoe is here, Pat Keenan and Andrew Hentz. This application.
Give an update. Can you give one update?
Can you all hear us?
This is for E, the first one of yes, the second one we did.
Yeah, do you want to go ahead with?
Yes, we can hear you. I'll just be very quick. The application was heard at 9:20, E1322, and it was approved by the committee, subject to the conditions. And I'm not sure if we'll send you a copy of the conditions. But it was already heard and decided, and when it was opened up for the public, there were no attendees.
Okay. Appreciate the update, Lou, and we'll expect, I guess, correspondence from the committee in the next while.
Yes.
Yes, you will.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Okay.
We're good to go now on application E 17.22. GM Howe and Sons Limited, 707 Rogers Road. Take notice that an application was made by G&M Howe and Sons Limited, 7841 Rogers Road, Elmer, Ontario, for consent pursuant to section 53 of the Planning Act 1990, as amended to sever lands municipally known as 7077 Rogers Road, Township of Malahide. The applicants propose to sever a parcel of the frontage of 53.65 meters, 176.02 feet along Rogers Road by a depth of 154.0 meters, 505.25 feet, and an area of 1.06 hectares, 2.62 acres, to be conveyed to the adjacent property. The applicants are retaining 26.82 hectares, 66.27 acres, proposed to remain in agricultural use. Do any of applicants or agents and an interested party who wish to speak to this application, please introduce yourself to the committee.
Good morning, Dave Rowe, I'm the agent for the applicant.
Thank you, David. I'll now ask Lou to proceed with the county report.
Sure. Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So this application, again, for consent is consistent with the 2020 PPS and complies with the County of Elgin official plan. And as such, staff is of the opinion that this application is acceptable from a planning perspective and recommends approval following conditions. A digital copy of the draft and final deposited reference plan be provided to the County of Elgin. Solicitor undertaking to provide a copy of registered deed for the severed parcel once completed, and the municipal addressing to be provided to Elgin County from the local municipality prior to final approval to the satisfaction of Elgin County planning. Additionally, it's recommended that the following conditions from the Township of Malahide be included as conditions for consent: that all entrance permits are acquired from the appropriate road authority as per our entrance control policy, that all outstanding work orders, bylaw enforcement issues be resolved to the satisfaction of the chief building official prior to the conditions being fulfilled, confirmation that private sewage system be confined entirely within the boundaries of the newly created parcel, that system be in conformance with all required setbacks from lot lines prior to conditions being deemed fulfilled, that the necessary deeds, transfers, and charges for certificates and or instruments necessary for registration be submitted in triplicate prior to the certification of which are to be fully executed, that all applicable property taxes and municipal fees and charges be paid to the municipality prior to the stamping of deeds. Condition 6, that an electronic version of the reference plan be submitted to the satisfaction of the municipality. Final condition, that the applicant initiate and assume all planning costs associated with the required zoning amendment in accordance with the Ontario Planning Act. Such costs to be paid in full to the township, and that the required processes be fully completed prior to the conditions being deemed fulfilled.
Thank you, Lou. Are there any questions from any of the committee members? Yes, Dennis?
Mr. Chairman, I see in your comments, you talk about the properties being merged, but there's not a condition that the properties be merged. So should there not be a condition, an additional condition that the properties be merged into one lot?
There should be,
Yes.
there should be that condition. That's correct. You can add that if you.
Yes, no, and you're correct. As I was going through that, I was flipping back and forth, kind of wondering where it was missing, because I apologize, I hadn't had a chance to review this particular one. But the nature of this consent application is to enlarge the existing lot by merging adjacent properties. So the appropriate condition should be added that the lands be consolidated and that the appropriate planning act provisions be applied. So you're correct, and I thank you for catching that.
I'll move, hasn't been moved yet, has it?
No, it has
I'll
not.
move the recommendation with the addition that the additional condition that the two properties be merged into one, or however the proper legal wording should be.
Second by Rosemary Kennedy. Any other comments from any of the members? Yes, John?
I just have a very quick question. David, how old can a microbiological result be still used? This was dated July 21st last year.
Well, it was, actually, the application was submitted to the county and it was current at that time. And what happened was, in the meantime, at one point, the committee accepted purchase of sale agreements. And this was not, didn't get to the committee that changed the rules. So then we had to have, okay, no, it's slightly different. Back on the last application. I think what happened was that we submitted the application, but we didn't have all of the information at that point. But if you wish to put a condition that they do another water sample, that would be good. Actually, the water sample was taken on the house, which is on the retained land. It's not part of the house that the land is being added to. Yeah. And I think what it is they actually put down a new well. Now starting to come. It's been so long.
Well, there's 2 points. One is, do we have any parameters for the date of the result or the date of the microbiological results and submitting an application? And the second is, I guess your point, you need to do anything about this now.
I don't think we need to do anything about this now, but I'm just thinking what staff tend to do is make sure that there is a current septic review and a current water review and a well review, whatever current means.
I guess that's what.
The committee secretaries, because I've had some where an applicant had the original septic review when it was installed 5 years before.
Yeah.
And the committee secretary has said, no, we need a current. It's whatever current is to the staff. But they're pretty good on doing that, making sure that they're current, not 2 or 3 years old.
Yeah. Is everybody else comfortable with 9 months ago?
Yep. Yes.
I mean, your staff has generally been pretty good on making sure that they are good.
Thanks, Dave.
You're welcome.
Any further comments from any of the members on that question? Motion's on the floor. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. The next application we deal with at 10 o'clock. Yeah, we've got a few minutes on. Application E18-22. Take notice that an application is made by the Open Bible Baptist Church, 9060 Hacienda Road, Elmer, for consent pursuant to section 53 of the Planning Act 1990, as amended to sever lands municipally known as 9060 Hacienda Road, Township of Maldi. The applicants propose to sever a parcel with a frontage of 53.65 meters, 180 feet along Hacienda Road by a depth of 154 meters, 240 feet, and an area of 0.40 hectares, 0.99 acres to create a new residential lot. The applicants are retaining 1.51 hectares, 3.72 acres proposed to remain in institutional use. Do we have any applicants or agents and interested parties who wish to speak to this application? Please introduce yourself to the committee.
I'm Susan Lee.
Pardon?
I'm Susan Lee. I'm the representative of Open Bible Baptist Church. And I have Pastor Wilson Watson, Pastor Henry, Hebert with me, as well as Peter Mary Parks.
Okay, thank you. Now I ask Lou Papilia to read the comments for the county and the municipality. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this application has been reviewed by staff, and the application for consent has been deemed not consistent with the 2020 EPS. It does not conform to the County of Elgin or the Township of Malahide official plan regarding lot creation within agricultural areas. As such, staff is of the opinion that the application should be denied from a planning perspective. The above noted position is consistent with the Township of Malahide's recommendation for the application not to be supported by the Land Division Committee.
Any comments from any of the members?
Yes, I'm the former pastor of the church, and we had bought the property on 9060 Hacienda Road. This gentleman and another gentleman who have since deceased. We bought it under the condition that should that property ever become severable, that they would have the right to purchase back a portion agreeable to the church and to these business people. And in the interest of their desire to build a place, we as a church would like to make that possible. And it's based on the whole idea of reconciliation. For many years, there was conflict over that because they did want to sever, but nothing seemed to be conducive towards a severance. But now there seems to be a friendly attitude towards severing property in that community on the west side, which was formerly denied, but now there are probably 20 or 30 houses developed. And there was another property that was severed just less than a year ago, perhaps, on the south side of the Hacienda, of the number 3 highway at Hacienda Road. All we're asking for is just a small portion at the north end of the property, so they could build a house on there for their purposes, for their uses. In the interest of consistency, because we were denied the purchase of the property on the west side of Hacienda Road back in the 1970s because it was designated as agricultural land by Malahide Township. Then they went ahead and they did sever it so that these houses could be built there. And so I'm just simply appealing for, on the benefit of the church, to make sure that there's a happy spirit between the original sellers of the property to us. And the other thing is that we as a church would like to make this a possibility for them and asking the council for consideration that this might be done in their favor, and we would be supportive of council.
Any comments from any of the members? Dennis?
The land is zone institutional.
Yes, correct.
If somebody wanted to build a business there, they'd be allowed to because it's zoned institutional.
if it was consistent with the zoning bylaw, something could be built.
Existing official plan calls it institutional, so.
The official plan actually is agricultural. The zoning on it, and recognizing the church use is institutional. But the official plan designation is agricultural.
Okay, the OP designation, but the zoning bylaw says it's institutional, zoned as institutional, correct?
The zoning is institutional, correct. The OP is agricultural. And the zoning was applied there to recognize the church use.
Okay, so a business could go in an institution, however it's defined in their OP and zoning bylaw, would be allowed to build on that property.
Anything, whatever is permitted within that institutional zone, within the Malahide zoning bylaw, may be permitted.
So the issue is not so much as building allowed or not allowed, it's a type of building that's allowed. Is that correct?
Under the zoning bylaw, correct.
And we have had multiple cases where the zoning bylaw or OP and OPA is required to allow a severance or zoning or merger. We've had multiple cases like that in the past. So is it more to the point that this application is premature and they need to work with the township and the county to see if either an OPA or zoning bylaw amendment would allow residential use there and not reject it simply on the fact that they don't have the proper OP zoning bylaw designation?
Well, the designation is agricultural.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed.
So, I mean, more appropriate way to go about this would be probably to work with the lower tier and county municipality to determine if a land use change from agricultural to permit a settlement type use would be appropriate. But that is totally premature at this point.
That's right.
I don't know the history as was stated here in terms of what happened on the west side. I thought I heard that on the west side it was agricultural at one point.
Yes.
And then brought into settlement designation. So I would suggest that maybe the best course of action would be to consult with a planning consultant and your lower tier municipality staff in terms of what steps you could take to extend that designation to the east side of Hacienda. And I can't really speak to what level of support would be for that. I don't see a lot of merit for that, but I mean, that's something that's outside of this process. But it's something that they may want to consider.
Mr. Chairman, I would, for the purpose of discussion, I'd put a motion on the table saying that this application be deferred and that the applicants confer with the municipality on the zoning bylaw and official plan to see if the issues can be worked out at the local level. And they reapply after that. That would be my motion.
We have a second to that motion.
Thanks for the comment here first, Gene.
I'll just take this.
Unless we get a second.
I got a seconder and it's Rosemary. Now your comment.
So just for clarification here, the problem is one side of the road is zoned differently than other at this present time, right?
It's within a different official plan designation.
Okay. So, like, I don't see anything really wrong with what these people are proposing, but I understand the problem is it's the zoning on it at the present.
Through the municipality.
Okay, that's just a clarification I wanted.
Any other comments from any of the members? Jack?
I'll just add one more comment if I may, and that's that you make a great moral presentation. We understand where you're coming from. But as far as this committee, if it doesn't meet the provincial policy statement, it doesn't meet the county official plan, and it doesn't meet the municipality Malahide official plan, our hands are tied that it cannot be approved by this committee. So I think you have to go back to making a presentation, delegation, if you will, to the local municipality of Malahide. As Lou mentioned, you might want to engage a planner to help you with that presentation and try and get it started from the bottom up, because we can't approve this as it stands. That's my opinion.
Any further comments from members? John?
Just as a brief comment, is this just an example of time delayed has resulted in a PPS that has resulted in this not being able to go ahead? I mean, this happened so long ago, and now with the PPS, and I mean, the whole decision of not doing it is based on PPS, as Jeff was saying.
Any further comment on that?
I don't really see, I'm not sure if I follow you. I think there was just a commitment made at the time of purchase
Yes.
that wasn't consistent with the underlying
Mike?
land uses in place for those lands.
Even back that far.
Conflict, yes.
Thank you.
Any comment from Brian? Do you have any comment?
I would just say, I guess from my perspective, the request or the application before us, as we've received comment from Allied staff with respect
Yeah.
to
Right.
their position, further to Jack's comments, as it pertains to their official plan and the zoning implications that exist, which unfortunately don't support the request. Deferral of the matter, I wouldn't necessarily suggest deferral of the matter. It's consideration of the application as presented by the recommendation is before you. And we would encourage the applicant, as Dennis has suggested, to work with the local municipality on possibly bringing forth a redesignation of the appropriate planning process.
I agree with that. I don't think it's in the best interest of this committee to defer it because of the way it's presented.
Can't do it.
Doesn't meet any, sorry.
We have a motion on the floor. You read it.
Mr. Chairman, I'm, as a mover of the, I'd have to talk over with my seconder. I'd be willing to either way. We can debate it before we change the motion that's on the floor. I'd be willing to go either way, whether we defer, and I still think a deferral is appropriate. But I'd be willing to also alter my motion to say that it be denied, but that no future costs be apportioned to the applicant for a new submission. So what does the committee want to do? Do you want to defer it? Or do you want to, want me to change my, and I'm willing as a friendly amendment to change it?
We have the motion on the floor for deferral.
I'm willing to withdraw it and make a new motion, depending on what the committee wishes.
But it's,
Just to comment,
I like,
just to comment, I think we all realize this group in 6 months might not be
That's
something
right.
here, so I would ask you to withdraw it.
yes,
Just think it's, I mean, I feel for the people, but I think
it's gotta be,
let's keep it clean and move on.
that's right. Julie, you have any comments on how this motion?
So I think the original motion should be considered. The staff recommended motion to deny the application to keep the
Yes.
process straightforward and in line with the way we've considered all other applications. I have concerns that denying and waiving future fees is precedent setting.
Yeah, yeah. I agree.
Do you have a motion on the floor, Mr. Chairman?
Okay, so we're gonna, if you want the vote called on that, we will call the vote on the original motion.
Can you read what that motion is exactly?
And could we, Mr. Chairman, through you to Dennis O'Grady, could you, so you recommended that this be deferred and that the applicants, can you clarify what you requested of the applicants or suggested the applicants undertake?
Right.
My motion was that it be deferred so that the applicants can meet with the township planning staff to determine if a new official plan and or zoning bylaw designation could be achieved for that parcel.
Have that motion on the floor now. Going to call the vote on that motion. want to record it. Okay, all in favor of that motion? Opposed?
Defeated.
It's defeated. Okay, we need a motion on the floor. Denied.
I'll have to move that this application as presented be denied.
Seconded by John Andrews. Any further comments? I'll call the vote then. All in favor? It's carried. Opposed? Should have said first. Opposed? 2 opposed. Don't read that decision. Okay, that's,
I think we should give Julie a minute to get that down.
pardon?
Do we give Julie a minute to get that down?
Yes, I am.
We said a lot of it.
Okay, we'll proceed with the next application. Application E20-22. Take notice that an application has been made by Eva Dick, 448 John Street, Aylmer, for consent pursuant to Section 53 of the Planning Act 1990, as amended to sever lands municipally known as 10 Spruce Street East, Town of Aylmer. The applicants propose to sever a parcel with a frontage of 17.7 meters, 58.07 feet along Spruce Street East by a depth of 19.9 meters, 65.29 feet, and an area of 0.036 hectares, 0.09 acres to create a new residential lot. The applicants are retaining 0.048 hectares, 0.12 acres proposed to remain in residential use. Do any of applicants or agents and interested parties who wish to speak to this application, please introduce yourself to the committee. Okay, I'll now ask Lou to proceed with the comments, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this application for consent is consistent with the 2020 provincial policy statement and complies with the County of Elgin official plan for lot creation within a settlement area. As such, planning staff are of the opinion that the application is acceptable from a planning perspective, and the following conditions have been provided for the County of Elgin: that a digital copy of the draft and final deposited reference plan be provided to the County of Elgin. Solicitor undertaking to provide a copy of registered deed for the severed parcel once completed, and municipal addressing be provided to Elgin County from the local municipality prior to final approval to the satisfaction of the Elgin County planning. Additionally, it's recommended that following conditions for the town of Elmer be included as conditions for the consent: that the number one, that the owner initiate and assume all planning costs associated with the required application for minor variance, such costs to be paid in full to the town of Elmer, and that the required process be successfully completed prior to the condition be deemed fulfilled. As the owner meet all requirements, financial and otherwise, of the town to satisfaction of the town of Elmer. That the owner make payment of cash in lieu of parkland dedication pursuant to Section 51.1 of the Planning Act, the satisfaction of the town of Elmer. That the owner provide confirmation of the location of any existing overhead or underground services installed to the lots to be severed. Services cannot traverse the adjoining lots, and any conflict must be redirected at the cost of the applicants to the satisfaction of the town. that the lot to be retained, individually connected to the municipal water supply and sanitary sewer with all costs, including applicable fees and charges, to be borne by the applicants to the satisfaction of the town of Aylmer. That a draft reference plan illustrating the lot to be severed be prepared by an Ontario land surveyor for the purposes of facilitating the transaction of applicable of application for consent E 20-22, and that this plan be approved by the town of Aylmer prior to being deposited at the land registry office. That municipal addressing be assigned for the lot to be retained by the town of Aylmer, and that confirmation of municipal addressing be provided to Elgin County. For 8, that an electronic version of the reference plan be submitted to the satisfaction of the town of Aylmer. Issue 9, that the town of Aylmer advise the Secretary Treasurer for the Land Division Committee that all requirements of the town of Aylmer have been complied with. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any comments from any of the members? John?
Is the severance of the residential lot, or are they severing the vacant lot? The reason I ask is it was confusing to me on page 130, the second paragraph of the agenda. It says the applicants proposed to sever the vacant lot. Is that correct, or are they severing residential?
Correct. It's normally, it is normally that they are retaining the lot with the existing dwelling and severing the vacant lot.
Yes.
Not sure why that should be reversed on the map that I don't have the page number, I apologize, but
Okay, no, that's all right. Well,
typically you're retaining the dwelling, severing the vacant parcel.
that just seems to be turned around between an application and the page 150, second paragraph. But quoting the second paragraph, the applicants proposed to sever the vacant land. Anyway, I'm sorry. Again, that's housekeeping. I don't mean to be.
Yeah, I think it's just labeled incorrectly on that map.
Well, I'm not so sure because I'm looking at the application package.
Yes.
And it states on the application that description of land intended to be severed is the existing residential. Description of land to be retained is the vacant.
Yeah, on page 150 of the thing, it says the exact opposite. Thank you.
Page 150.
In the agenda.
Oh, okay. We don't have that for us.
So in the absence of the applicant not being here to explain what their intent is, I believe we should just rely on what the application is that
Yeah.
submitted.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I just worry about that if the wording is, it's not exactly correct, is that problematic? That's only my issue.
Any further questions from any members? Moved by John Andrews, seconded by Jack Van Castren. That it be approved. No further questions from any of the members? Call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? None, so it's carried. The decision rendered today for this application will be circulated within 15 days after the notice. There is a 20-day appeal period from the giving of the notice of decision in which any person or public body may appeal the decision or any condition imposed. If no appeal is received within 20 days of the giving of notice, the provisional consent becomes final. The applicant has 2 years to meet the conditions imposed and submit the necessary documents for certification, or the consent will lapse and a new application will be required. Please leave the indemnification signs in place until the appeal period ends, after which they can be removed. If you would like to be notified of today's decision, please request a copy by contacting Land Division at elgin.ca. A copy of the comment package is also available upon request and includes all correspondence received. Thank you. Next application is E2122. Take notice that an application has been made by Paul Marks, 204 Union Street, Belmont, Ontario, for consent pursuant to Section 53 of the Planning Act 1990, as amended to sever lands municipally known as 204 Union Street, Municipality of Central Elgin. The applicants propose to sever a parcel with a frontage of 19.81 meters, 64.99 feet along Victoria Street by a depth of 20.09 meters, 65.91 feet, and an area of 0.04 hectares, 0.10 acres to create a new residential lot. The applicants are retaining 0.077 hectares, 0.19 acres, proposed to remain in residential use. Do we have any applicants or agents or interested parties who wish to speak to this application? Please introduce yourself to the committee.
Yeah, I'll be agent.
Thank you. I'll now ask Lou Papilia, please speak to this.
Originally, I had added a note here that at the time of submitting this application, it wasn't heard by the council for Central Elgin, but it did go on Monday. There were no issues raised by the council. So I just had to carry as a note just in case there were some changes from our recommendation. So this application for consent is consistent with both the 2020 PPS and the complies with the county official plan, as well as consistent with the lower tier municipalities official plan. The staff's opinion is that the application is acceptable from a planning perspective and recommends approval subject to the following conditions: that a digital copy of the draft and final deposit of reference plan be provided to the county of Elgin. Solicitor undertaking to provide a copy of registered deed for the severed parcel once completed, and municipal addressing to be provided to Elgin County from the local municipality prior to final approval. The satisfaction of Elgin County planning. Additionally, it's recommended that the following conditions from the municipality of Central Elgin be included as conditions for consent: that the applicant enter into an agreement with the municipality of Central Elgin to address administrative, technical, and financial matters. 2, that payment of cash in lieu of the dedication of 5% of the land for parkland purposes. 3, the severed lands be merged in title with parcel B, consent application E22-22. And section 4, subsection 3 and 5 of section 50 of the Planning Act as amended shall apply to any subsequent conveyances or transactions involving the subject lands. And 5, that the solicitor for the applicant is to provide an undertaking whereby they inform the committee in writing that the lands are being conveyed to an abutting property landowner, and thus merger of title will take place, which merger shall include all interests held inclusive or mortgages or mortgagee's interest. And finally, that the municipality of Central Elgin be provided with a copy of the reference plan.
Any comments from any of the members of the committee?
Just comment, I don't know, yeah, but on the, sorry, I'm looking at the next one. Sorry, I'll leave my question to the next one. Both.
Okay. Any comments? Moved by John Andrews, seconded by Duke Aldred. Call the vote. All in favor? Carried. We'll now do application E22-22. Take notice that an application is made by Richard Glover, 206 Union Street, Belmont, Ontario, for consent pursuant to sorry, I didn't read sorry about that. I was taking both of them at once. The decision rendered today for this application will be circulated within 15 days after the notice. There's a 20-day appeal period from the giving of the notice of decision. in which any person or public body may appeal the decision or any condition imposed. If no appeal is received within 20 days of the giving of notice, the provisional consent becomes final. The applicant has 2 years to meet the conditions imposed and submit the necessary documents for certification, or the consent will lapse and a new application will be required. Please leave the identification signs in place until the appeal period ends, after which they can be removed. If you would like to be notified of today's decision, please request a copy by contacting landdivision@elgin.ca. A copy of the comment package is also available upon request and includes all correspondence received. Thank you. Application E.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello, Mr. Fleck?
Yes.
It's Bruce Shackleton here with Claire Wintermute.
Yes.
I'm not sure this is the time to
We are
say
going,
anything.
we're going to be dealing with E 22,
Yes,
22, which was just starting. Will
yes.
be welcome after.
Okay, I'm just not sure of the order here, that's all.
Okay, thank you. Take notice, an application was made by Richard Glover, 206 Union Street, Belmont, Ontario, for consent pursuant to Section 53 of the Planning Act 1990, as amended, to sever lands municipally known as 206 Union Street, Municipality of Central Elgin. The applicants propose to sever a parcel with a frontage of 19.8 meters, 64.96 feet, and a depth of 20.09 meters, 65.91 feet, an area of 0.040 hectares, 0.098 acres, to create a new residential lot. The applicants are retaining 0.077 hectares, 0.19 acres, proposed to remain in residential use. We have our applicants or agents and interested parties who wish to speak to this application. Please introduce yourself to the committee. We've had
Richard Glover.
Mr. Glover,
Yes.
and we've had Mr. Shackleton introduce himself. I now call on Lou Papilia to speak to this.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this application for consent is consistent with the 2020 EPS and also complies with the County of Elgin official plan for lot creation within a settlement area. And as such, staff is of the opinion that the application is acceptable from a planning perspective and recommends approval subject to the following conditions. Digital copy of the draft and final positive reference plan be provided to the County of Elgin solicitor undertaking to provide a copy of the registered deed for the severed parcel once completed. Municipal addressing to be provided to Elgin County from the local municipality prior to final approval and satisfaction of Elgin County planning. Additionally, it is recommended that the following conditions from the municipality of Central Elgin be included as conditions for consent. Number one, that the applicants enter into an agreement with the municipality of Central Elgin to address administrative, technical, and financial matters. The metal shed located on the retained north lot of the existing metal clad garage be removed or relocated to the satisfaction of the municipality of Central Elgin. That payment of cash in lieu of the dedication of 5% of the land for parkland purposes, the severed land be merged in title with parcel B, consent application E 21-22. That subsection 3 or 5, Section 50 of the Planning Act as amended shall apply for any subsequent conveyance or transaction involving the subject lands. Condition 6, that the solicitor for the applicant is to provide an undertaking whereby they inform the committee in writing that the lands are being conveyed to an abutting property owner, and thus a merger of title will take place, which merger shall include all interests held inclusive for mortgagee's interests. And finally, that the municipality of Central Elgin be provided with a copy of their reference plan.
Any comments from any of the members of the committee? Dennis?
Chairman, so the, I know you hadn't got Central Elgin's comments. The recommendations we're putting down there from Central Elgin They didn't change from the council meeting?
No, to the best of my knowledge, they have not.
Okay. And my second question is and I know the parcel mapping is not overly accurate, but just, is there going to be a minor variance required? Because according to the information in front of it, there's an overlap of the garage onto the severed parcel. That would require a minor variance. But again, understanding the parcel mapping that we have is not accurate. Maybe the owners have a more detailed survey to show where the property lines are, and that garage does not overlap on the severed parcel. But that should be clarified somewhere, whether it either needs a minor variance or it's not an issue.
I haven't seen it raised as an issue, but at the time that the reference plan are submitted, if there's an issue is flagged there and once reviewed by the municipality, then
I believe it's the metal sheds. That's why.
well, that's where that could be why the condition is here for the metal sheds to be
Was that
relocated.
that little chunk?
Yeah, they've been removed.
Oh, okay, thanks.
So we've captured it through that condition about
Yeah,
the metal shed being removed.
Sorry, I thought that was part of the garage. I thought there was a separate metal shed.
But nonetheless, the requirement for submission of a reference plan for satisfaction of the municipality is usually provided so that there's a second opportunity to look at the final lotting, make sure it's in compliance.
Any comments from anybody else?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Shackleton?
Yeah, the map that's showing on the screen there, it shows the existing shed across the property line.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about.
Is that the metal shed that you're talking about coming down?
Yeah.
And that's already been noted by
Okay, and I'm not sure whether this is the right time to address this, but the height of the property being severed at the back there is higher than Mr. Wintermute's. And so he's worried about, of course, you're building over it, so you got reduction in water infiltration. So you got water possibly running off onto his property. Is that all going to be addressed when they build?
Sure.
And then,
Through the building permit review process, a drainage upgrading plan, drainage plan would be submitted and reviewed by staff and signed off to ensure that all drainage is contained within the consolidated property and not affecting adjacent properties.
and my understanding is they're going to put a multi-residence on it. If that's not true, let me know now.
I'll start, but then defer to the applicant. They'll be permitted to build what the zone permits. So if it's whether it's a single or duplex or a single with an additional dwelling unit, that'll be.
It's a granite flat.
Sorry, it's a what?
It's a granite flat in the basement.
So it'll be as permitted in the zoning bylaw, a main dwelling with an additional dwelling unit contained within the dwelling.
Claire Kielstra has done the drawing and it's matched the R2 zoning.
And so also on the application there, they talk about a shed to be built. Is there going to be height restrictions on that shed? With shades and whatever else on Mr. Wintermute's property. And are they ever going to want to operate a non-conforming commercial business out of that shed?
Yeah, well, whatever is built as an accessory structure, a shed or a detached garage would have to comply to the local zoning, the underlying zoning for an accessory structure. That'll determine what the size, the setback, and the height would be, and the use. Generally, if it's a detached structure, home occupation is not permitted to run out of a detached structure.
I think that ends our concerns.
Okay, any further comments from from the committee members?
I'll move the recommendation.
Moved by Dennis O'Grady, seconded by John Andrews. All vote, all in favor? Opposed? None? It's carried. The decision rendered today for this application will be circulated within 15 days after the notice. There is a 20-day appeal period from the giving of the notice of decision, in which any person or public body may appeal the decision or any condition imposed. If no appeal is received within 20 days of the giving of notice, the provisional consent becomes final. The applicant has 2 years to meet the conditions imposed and submit the necessary documents for certification, or the consent will lapse and a new application will be required. Please leave the identification signs in place until the appeal period ends, after which they can be removed. If you would like to be notified of today's decision, please request a copy by contacting landdivision@elgin.ca. A copy of the comment package is also available upon request and includes all correspondence received. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, all you need to know.
Yes. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to application E23-22. Take notice that an application that was made by AgVest Farmland 1 Incorporated, 80 Keel Street, Suite 3, Chatham, Ontario, for consent pursuant to Section 53 of the Planning Act 1990, as amended, to sever lands municipally known as 57905 Heritage Line, Municipality of Bayham. The applicants propose to sever a parcel of the frontage of 60.09 meters, 197.15 feet, and a depth of 71.23 meters, 233.69 feet, and an area of 0.43 hectares, 1.06 acres, to create a new residential lot containing an existing dwelling and garage. The applicants are retaining 53.01 hectares, 131 acres proposed to remain in agricultural use. Do we have any applicants or agents and interested parties who wish to speak to this application? Please introduce yourself to the committee.
Yeah, Dave Rowe, I'm the agent. Ron Stevens is with Ag Invest.
Thank you. I'll now call on Lou Papali to his comments, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This application for consent is consistent with both the 2020 policy statement and complies with the County of Elgin official plan for surplus farm dwellings. So planning staff is of the opinion that the application is acceptable from a planning perspective and recommends approval subject to the following conditions. A digital copy of the draft and final deposited reference plan be provided to the County of Elgin. Solicitor undertaking to provide a copy of registered deed for the severed parcel once completed, and municipal addressing to be provided to Elgin County from the local municipality prior to final approval to the satisfaction of Elgin County planning. Additionally, it is recommended that the following conditions from the municipality of Bayham be included as conditions for consent. Rezoning of the severed lot from agricultural A1-1 to rural residential zone, and that the retained lands from agricultural A1 to special agricultural A2 to prohibit withdrawal. Municipal road access permit required for access to the retained lands from Oil Road. Purchase civic number signage for the retained lands. Planning report fee payable to the municipality. Digital copy of the final survey provided to the municipality, and that the applicant initiate and assume, if required, all engineering costs associated with the preparation of a revised assessment schedule in accordance with the Drainage Act as amended, with a deposit to be paid in full to the municipality prior to the condition being deemed fulfilled. If the deposit does not cover the costs of the revised assessment schedule, the applicant will be billed for any additional costs incurred. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any further comments from the members of the committee? Yes, Doug?
Yeah, so I'm looking at this, and your home farm location is a Maynard line in Chatham. So you're farming land all the way from Chatham to Tilsonburg, this farm
All
operation?
the way actually to Norfolk County. Ag Invest have about 9,000 acres. They farm a lot of it, some of it themselves, some themselves, and they share crop and lease some of it as well. In order to comply with the Bayham official plan, Bayham official plan, they are required to have a house, another house in Bayham. In order to qualify, they do have another house located on Plank Line in Bayham, which they are keeping for that purpose. They 4 properties now in Norfolk, and we're going through the process of severing those circumstances. They've got some additional farms that they'll be closing in Norfolk in next few months as well. So it's quite an extensive farm operation, but it does meet the provincial requirements, the county and Bayham efficient plan requirements for surface farm.
I'll just speak to his question quickly. So yeah, we are farming that particular parcel as well ourselves. We do custom operate certain sections of it that we don't want to have our equipment all the way up from Chatham for, but we are farming that parcel.
And you also rent some of the stuff you buy out, is that correct?
When there's a circumstance where it's a certain time of year where we can't actually operate the land ourselves, or it doesn't make financial sense to do so, we do rent certain land. Yep.
Like I just know of one situation where the farm was up for sale. The agent had his sold sign on, 2 days later, there's a sign up that it's for lease. Which, when I read over the specifications of EPS and everything, that sounds to me more like an investment company than a farming operation.
We have a farmer's business registration number. We comply to all the Ontario legislation, so in the eyes of Ontario government.
And I know I asked Brian some questions on this, and like I still have concerns that we ought to be kind of careful as a committee that what we do, or we could end ourselves on a slippery slope here, like, having an investment company that says they have a farmer in the room is like saying if we have a lawyer in the room, we're a law. It's like, we got to be kind of careful, is my opinion. So that's just my concerns. We don't want to get ourselves setting as precedents that we can't meet in the future.
The modern farm is growing, right? Like by nature of there's how Ontario was settled, right? There's 100 acre parcels with a house on them. Very few, if any, people can make a living on 100 acres. I think most people would agree with me on that. So by nature of growing farm operations and scaling, you have to have larger and larger farm operations, which often means there's a house left over. That's all we're trying to do here is return that house back to the community.
Yeah, I'm just questioning whether it's a farming operation or whether it's an investment. That's where my concern is. That's just my opinion. Thanks.
Further, Dennis?
So a question, who's living in that house that's on Plank?
Currently, it's no one's living.
So it's just there to satisfy the requirements of the OP. Doesn't serve any other purpose.
We had a tenant in there at one point, but they're not living there currently.
And your intent then is to leave it vacant or to have it rented out?
It would be rented out, yeah. There's no
How long has it been vacant for now?
few weeks. We're not, this is the other,
I understand what you're saying. I understand all the commercial aspects of farming and all that. But we have had corporations hiding as farmers, and that's going to get us into trouble. It's going to get the townships and the county. Got to be really careful about that stuff.
Yeah.
To make sure it's for real farmers and not just investors.
I put myself in the situation of a young person that wants to buy a house out in the country. I can't buy a house in the country unless I buy the 100 acres associated with it. If the farmer that wants to sell me the 100 acres wants $20,000 an acre, and the house is worth 300 grand, all of a sudden now I can't buy a house. Like there's a lot of implications, and that's what you guys are here to deliberate. I'm just here to answer your questions.
How do we, and I think Duke raised a good point, how do we know the difference between a local farm corporation that, yes, is buying up land and farming it, they're local farmers, versus a Bonneville, which is an investment firm, claims to be farmer? How do we know that as a committee? How do we differentiate between the two, sitting here as a committee, to know that, in fact, this is not a Bonneville in disguise, or that Bonneville is not a farmer in disguise? How do we even know that?
Very simply, we farm a lot of the same situation you're in, file your income tax. We have a corporate farm tax, we're a corporation, we file our income tax, we're farming, the business of farming, and we have property, bought a home and stuff like that, but we are farmers, we file our income tax. It's good enough for Ottawa, so what's the issue?
So would Bonneville not have to file an income tax if it may not also get a farm registration number?
Say that again, Dennis, I can't hear you.
No, I can't.
Sorry, would Bonneville not also be able to get a farm registration number? And would they not also be able to file as a farm if they get a farm registration? I think they could.
I'll just speak for the nature of this application. The nature of this application, it was submitted to the county, reviewed by the local municipality and council, and deemed acceptable for the purposes of our compliance with the official plan. As far as the nature of overall farm operation and land ownership, that's a second matter.
John, you had a question?
The house on Plank Line, is it livable?
Yep.
It is livable. It has water and sewage.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
What does that, what further
Go
comment?
ahead, go ahead, check.
I think we all recognize, Mr. Stevens, what you're saying, and that you've checked all the boxes with the OP and the PPS and everything else. We as a committee have to be concerned with both sides of the equation, and your point about somebody wanting to buy a property in the country. We as a committee also have to realize that a severance is a severance forever. And once this property, the house is severed off of this farm operation or farm acreage, will never, ever be another house allowed on that.
Understood.
Yeah, so that's why we have to consider all avenues. And we also have to consider the legalities. In the PPS, the residence surplus to a farming operation means an existing habitable farm residence that is rendered surplus as a result of farm consolidation. And even though farming operation is not defined, farm consolidation is defined as the acquisition of additional farm parcels to be operated as one farm operation. But we just have to consider all these aspects before we make a final decision.
Any further comments? Moved by Rosemary Kennedy
Second.
to accept the application. Seconded by Dennis O'Grady. Any further questions or comments from the members? If not, I will call the vote. In favor? Opposed? The decision rendered today for this application will be circulated within 15 days after the notice. There is a 20-day appeal period from the giving of the notice of decision in which any person or public body may appeal the decision or any condition imposed. If no appeal is received within 20 days of the giving of notice, the provisional consent becomes final. The applicant has 2 years to meet the conditions imposed and submit the necessary documents for certification, or the consent will lapse and a new application will be required. Please leave the identification signs in place until the appeal period ends after which they can be removed. If you would like to be notified of today's decision, please request a copy by contacting Land Division at elgin.ca. A copy of the comment package is also available upon request and includes all correspondence received. Thank you. The next application is E1-22. Take notice that an application has been made by Wendy D'Angela, 11789 Superior Street, Springfield, Ontario, for consent pursuant to section 53 of the Planning Act as amended to sever lands municipally known as 11789 Superior Street, Township of Melville. The applicants propose to sever a parcel with the frontage of 60.38 meters, 198.10 feet along Superior Street by a depth of 24.14 meters, 79.20 feet, and an area of 0.14 hectares, 30.35 acres for future residential use. The applicants are retained. Okay. Okay, we'll now ask Lou to give his comments. Oh, on now.
That's Matt Campbell.
Matt Campbell, you're with us?
Mr. Chair, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank
Wonderful.
you.
We just had a connection issue there, so I just wanted to make sure we didn't miss anything
No.
pertaining to this application.
No, you haven't. We're just gonna,
Okay.
who's gonna give the comments of the county, please?
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Okay,
Matt?
thank you, Mr.
Yep.
Chair. Yes, so this application for consent is consistent with the 2020 CPS and complies with the County of Elgin official plan regarding lot creation in the settlement area. And staff is of the opinion that the application is acceptable from a planning perspective and recommends approval subject to the following conditions. A digital copy of the draft and final deposited reference plan be provided to the County of Elgin. Solicitor undertaking to provide a copy of registered deed for the severed parcel once completed, and that municipal addressing to be provided to Elgin County from the local municipality prior to final approval to the satisfaction of Elgin County planning. Additionally, it's recommended that the following conditions from the Township of Malahide be included as conditions for consent. Number one, that the applicant be required to initiate and assume, if required, all costs associated with connection to the municipal sanitary sewer service, with such costs to be paid in full to the township prior to the connection being deemed filled. That the applicant initiate and assume, if required, all engineering costs associated with the preparation of a revised assessment schedule in accordance with the Drainage Act as amended, with a deposit to be paid in full to the township prior to the condition being deemed fulfilled. If the deposit does not cover the costs of the revised assessment schedule, the applicant will be billed any additional costs incurred. That the applicant initiate and assume, if required, all engineering and construction costs associated with the construction of a new municipal drain or the relocation of municipal drain to be commenced in accordance with the Drainage Act, all costs to be paid in full to the township prior to the condition being deemed fulfilled. A operating plan is required as a condition of severance. It should be done in conjunction with the new municipal drain or relocation of the municipal drain. That all entrance permits be acquired from the appropriate road authority as per the entrance control policy. Condition 5, that the applicant be required to retain the services of a professional designer and have an engineered lot grading development plan and ditch grading plan prepared in accordance with good engineering practices that are suitable to the township prior to the condition being deemed fulfilled. That all outstanding work orders or bylaw enforcement issues be resolved to the satisfaction of the chief building official prior to the condition being deemed fulfilled. That the necessary deed transfer and charges or certificates and or instruments necessary for the registration be submitted in triplicate prior to the certification, all of which are to be fully executed. Condition 8, that all applicable property taxes, municipal fees, and charges be paid to the municipality prior to stamping of the deeds. Condition 9, that an electronic version of the reference plan be submitted to the satisfaction of the municipality. Condition 10, that the applicant be responsible to apply and pay all fees to the township with respect to civic addressing, numbers, signage, or the severed and retained portions of the property prior to the condition being deemed fulfilled. Final condition, that the applicant initiate and assume full costs associated with the required development agreement with the Township of Malahide in accordance with Section 53 of the Planning Act to ensure a single unit dwelling is constructed in accordance with the Ontario Building Code within a specified period of time to the satisfaction of the Township of Malahide. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any comments from any of the members of the committee? No comments? Mr. Campbell, do you have any comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Excuse me. So this is the second time this application has come to the committee. The committee may recall some time ago there was an issue with lots that comprised the subject lands that were part of a registered plan of subdivision. The Township of Malahide has since passed a deeming bylaw, therefore that issue is now satisfied. So this property is now deemed not to be in a registered plan of subdivision. So there is correspondence from Don Prendergast, the applicant's solicitor, providing an opinion on how lots may be conveyed here. So although prior to the deeming bylaw being passed, the current owner would be in a position to transfer these lands, we thought it was best to be doing this through the consent application, simply because it's a more holistic process, and we're capturing any sort of conditions and engineering issues that may need to be satisfied here. I understand that the future owner of these lands, Joe D'Angelo, who was on the call today, is looking at constructing a new single detached dwelling there, and is progressing with his plans to do so, and is actively taking steps to satisfy these conditions. So we have no concerns with the conditions, and would certainly encourage the committee to approve the application before you today. And I would also invite Joe to provide any comments to the committee that he deems appropriate at this time.
Go ahead, Jack.
I'll move that the application be approved as presented.
It's moved by Jack, seconded by Rosemary. All in favor? Carried. The decision rendered today for this application will be circulated within 15 days after the notice. There is a 20-day appeal period from the giving of the notice of decision, in which any person or public body may appeal the decision or any condition imposed. If no appeal is received within 20 days of the giving of notice, the provisional consent becomes final. The applicant has 2 years to meet the conditions imposed and submit the necessary documents for a certification, or the consent will lapse and a new application will be required. Leave the identification signs in place until the appeal period ends, after which they can be removed. If you would like to be notified of today's decision, please request a copy by contacting Land Division at Elm.ca. A copy of the comment package is also available upon request, includes all correspondence received. Thank you.
Thanks very much, committee.
Thank you. Thank you. Next application. Our application E16, 17, 18, and 19. We want to do them separately or do them as one, right? Thank you. Take notice that an application is made by Parabonovich Farms Incorporated, 25468 West Lorne, for consent pursuant to Section 53 of the Planning Act 1990, as amended to sever lands municipally known as part of Lot 6, Concession 7, Burnable Road, Municipality of West Elgin. The applicants proposed to sever a parcel with a frontage of 34.138 meters, 112.0 feet along Furnival Road by a depth of 60.96 meters, 200 feet, and an area of 0.208 hectares, 0.51 acres for future residential use. The owners are retaining 36.83 hectares, 91.0 acres proposed to remain in agricultural use. We have any applicants or agents and interested parties who wish to speak to this application, please introduce yourselves.
I'm Peter Perzanovic, and
I'm Michael, my brother.
Thank you.
we both own the property.
Yes, and I'm attending virtually. It's Gary Merritt, the solicitor for the applicants.
Thank you. We'll now have the Lou Papalia, the planner, to read the comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What I'll do is my understanding of the application before us is to allow, it's requesting that the committee extend the appeal period. I'm sorry.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
We're asking for an extension of all the preliminary work has been done with the first application, but we're close to the deadline, and because of issues.
We had an appeal.
Yes.
That's been answered.
Yeah, no, so correct. So we're dealing with all 4 applications with one. So my recommendation, my response will be inclusive of consistent for all 4 applications. But generally, the request is to extend the completion, the requirement for complying with the conditions by an additional year. So there have been changes to the Planning Act that now permit a lapsing date of 2 years for provisional consent. So the decisions on application 16, E17, 18, 19, 20 were given before these changes came into force and effect. As lesser lapsing dates are permitted by the Act, and a specific lapsing date was provided as part of the decision, there is a level of uncertainty whether the generalities of the extension from 1 to 2 years could be applied as of right. So given the information noted above, the Planning Act through Section 53, subsection 23, allows for the change in condition. So should the committee be satisfied with the request made by the applicant at the Land Division Committee meeting that the date be provided no later than April 21st, 2023, as noted in the report, this lapsing date was requested by the municipality and no correspondence has been received by the county that they are amenable to this request. So in the opinion of staff, it's really the committee's decision whether to extend it by an additional year. And or it's the opinion of the committee. It's at the committee's discretion to consider that request. Staff have don't see an issue with granting an additional year's extension.
Excuse me, it'd be helpful if you had a microphone. So my question is, you're okay with the extension or you're questioning the extension?
From a staff perspective, we have no issue with granting the extension of 1 year, but it is a decision of the committee, of the Land Division Committee, to make whether to grant that extension or not. Staffing perspective, with the changes that have been imposed by made to the Planning Act, allowing a 2-year extension, although your application was prior to that, we don't have an issue with granting a further extension, given that the circumstances of these applications is that you have been taking active steps to fulfill the condition.
Yes.
If not for the appeal, you would have been able to satisfy that 1 year.
We lost.
That's out of your hands.
I lost you.
That timing is out of your hands, and that's recognized by staff and informing the committee of that. That's outside of your hands. It's in rest now. Yeah,
Is it possible after 2 years or that another application?
What is the status of the appeal? If you don't mind me asking?
Oh, no, it went to Toronto Tribunal, and anyway, the neighbor had the issue, he dropped his appeal. He had dropped it, and we're trying to meet the conditions, but I'm saying if we have I'd like to have it, if there's a 2 year, there's other things we have to do. The engineer's report, for the drainage, doing all that, which we're working on all of that. I'm just saying, I feel we can do it in a year, but is it possible? Because now the new regulations say you have 2-year extension. Or is that another application? I don't want to make another application. This is going on for years.
I'll give you my opinion, but again, the decision rests with the Land Division Committee. Your request was for 1 year.
Yes.
I believe with the changes to the Planning Act, committee is open. If the committee so chooses, they could give up to 2 years.
Okay, that's all I'm asking.
So that is something that, with the changes in the Act, it allows you to go up to 2 years.
Yeah.
But the committee can also impose any condition less than 2 years. So it's a decision of the committee to make. You've explained, and I've tried to explain too, the nature, just where you're at, unfortunately.
Thank you.
As you've been going through you've been taking the necessary steps to satisfy the.
Well, we try to comply everything with everything, to do the normal. We live in the area.
Yeah, the municipality was supportive of the change.
Yes.
There was an appeal, which is part of the process.
And I respect that. The fellow had the appeal, that's his right. We're a democratic society.
Those are my comments. Yeah, those are my comments. I don't know if your solicitor has anything else to offer. I'll leave it at that and leave it to any questions or any comments or any decisions from the committee.
Duke Alder, do you have a comment?
We passed these applications as they were presented before. Everything that's happened has not been the applicant's fault. They've been doing everything ahead. I have no problem giving them extension. In my opinion, if they applied today, they'd get 2 years. I have no problem giving them 2 years from today. That would be and I would make that a motion if the rest of the committee as is all right.
I second it.
Seconded by John Andrews. Any further comments from members? We'll call the vote. All in favor? It's carried.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep.
So we're done, gentlemen?
Yes.
We're done.
Get to work.
Have a good day. Thank you. This has been a good day for us.
Thank you. It's been a long day. Not a fight, just way works. Thank you.
Okay.
It was dropped.
Oh, okay. Date of the next meeting.
Here and it wasn't even.
Date of the next meeting is May 25th. And we had a couple of items that were. The decision rendered today for this application will be circulated within 15 days after the notice. There is a 20-day appeal period from the giving of the notice of decision in which any person or public body may appeal the decision or any condition imposed. If no appeal is received within 20 days of the giving of notice, the provisional consent becomes final. The applicant has 2 years to meet the conditions imposed and submit the necessary documents for certification, or the consent will lapse and the new application will be required. Please leave the identification signs in place until the appeal period ends, after which they can be removed. If you would like to be notified of today's decision, please request a copy by contacting Land Division at alvin.ca. A copy of the comment package is also available upon request and includes all correspondence received. Sorry. So as I said, the next meeting is on the 25th of May, and we are having some earlier discussion on a few items.
Yep. Okay.
We'll take just a few minutes here.
Yep, just something for staff to take back, think about.
So is this for like a question and answer following the period, following the meeting? Or is this
That's
questions for?
We should adjourn first. We adjourn first and then have just, okay.
And Mr. Chair,
Moved by,
one quick comment, if I may, before we proceed to adjournment, is just to, on behalf of Alvin County, thank Luke Pompili and his team at the City of St. Thomas for providing expert support to the County of Alvin through this time of transition for us. So this will be Lou's last meeting. So thank you very much, Lou, for everything.
thank you. Thank you, Julie. Got that from somebody else.
Yes.
So all in favor of,
Oh, we have a mover.
mover, need a second. Seconded by Jack. John. All in favor? Carried. Now we have a few comments that were to be made.